All right, it is Wednesday, December 16th, and I am Dr. Jason Bradley, founder of Epic Functional Medicine and the developer of the Epic 5 plan. And I am blessed to be here today with Steve Frazier, EMF expert. I am completely thrilled to be in this interview today because honestly, I have a lot of people that ask me questions about EMFs. And I can't think of a better person to turn to get some of these answers. So, Steve, thank you so much for your time today and welcome to our podcast.
It's my pleasure.
Yeah, you bet. Just before we get going, I would love, you have a fascinating story. And I would love for our listeners to hear Steve's story of the development of Organites by Steve. Before we even get into what the heck are EMFs, what the heck is Organite?
Sure.
I want to hear your story because it's fascinating.
Okay. It started eight and a half years ago, and my wife became seriously ill, and we proceeded to see 17 doctors, medical doctors, over 2 years, and with absolutely no results. And it was extremely frustrating and disappointing. At that point, our daughter was starting a practice. She's a clinical nutritionist. Her name is Alex Hardinger. And she called up and she said, I want to come over and test you. She does muscle testing, NRT, MFT, things like this. Okay. And she came over, and about 15 minutes later, after literally walking in the room and in the kitchen, looked at Brenda, and my wife is Dr. Brenda Frazier. He looked at Brenda and said, "It appears to me that you have a Lyme disease-like function, disease from your waist down." Okay. And so at that point, that was then corroborated by another practitioner about 4 days later. And her adrenals were almost dead. Her thyroid was almost dead. She was down to 89 pounds. And so now for that 6.5 years now, she has been slowly recovering with the help of Alex and another practitioner. And in that process, it was determined that she was holding on to EMFs, frequency, the radiation, okay, basically radiation poisoning. And so about 5 years ago, we started with different mitigation techniques. And then we found a gentleman out in New York that was making pyramids, and Alex got one for us, and it tested very well. And if you're not familiar with muscle testing, it's a kinesiology. Most chiropractors have at least one class in it. But the bottom line is that she saved my wife's life. Brenda would be dead without this. There's no question. I'm at 100%, so that's all that matters, right?
Right.
So,
and she's getting better, and that's
and she's getting better. Yes.
So to jump in there too about muscle testing, I'm fascinated with it, by the way. I have actually tried to study it as much as I can. And let me explain why. Because I've seen, I'm a laboratory diagnostician. That's what I do all day long.
Okay,
I run lab work all day long. I look at blood, urine, stool, saliva, hair. I mean, if it's something that can be sampled and measured, I look at it all day long. Right?
Okay.
But I have these friends of mine, like you said, most of them are chiropractic doctors, and they do this muscle testing, and their diagnostic skills are pretty well up there, right? They match up with what the labs are, and it's fascinating to me. So I've studied it. Here's the funny part. I mean, I've actually followed people around and done these classes. I can't do it. It doesn't work for me. I think that my left brain keeps getting in the way of the outcome, but nonetheless, it's really interesting stuff. So I want to jump back too, because you mentioned a couple of things here. Radiation poisoning is a big thing right now, and EMFs are a big thing. And just for full transparency to our listeners, before Steve and I were running here live, I let him know that just earlier today we were getting questions about EMFs and from our clients, from our followers. And I said, what a weird coincidence. And I don't really believe in coincidences, right?
Right.
I mean, everything has purpose. There's a grand design to it all,
exactly.
Right? But nonetheless, I said, how weird is it that these questions are coming up? And I'm jumping on, with Steve and, by proxy, his wife, Dr. Brenda Frazier, experts in EMFs. Steve, and I mean this, what the heck is an EMF?
It's an electromagnetic field. Okay. And it's produced by a number of things. Okay. It can be produced by just regular electricity. If you have wiring in your house, sometimes it can be bad. It's called dirty electricity. The most common one that people would understand would be something that comes out of your router, Wi-Fi, that comes out of your cell phone, that comes out of a baby monitor. And I need to throw this out there. Wireless baby monitor is one of the strongest EMF emitters in your house.
Oh, wow.
And so people that have baby monitors next to their baby's head are exposing them to a tremendous amount of EMFs. And what it does, and there's studies that have done this, and I have a presentation with skulls, different skulls that I've done. And because babies and younger children, their skulls aren't developed, they absorb radiation twice as fast as an adult.
Okay, so it's almost sickening. I mean, for me to hear that, you know,
right.
It's just sick. I mean, not trying to have a pun there. It's sickening to the babies too. But yeah,
absolutely.
You're right. Their bone material has it. So they have the soft spot, you know,
yes,
in the fontanelle area, and I mean, yes, absolutely. And I just want to just say too, we call them our oily mamas, if that makes any sense. Our listeners, our viewers, our followers, that are, you know, we have a lot of really involved and engaged moms and dads. You know, we call them the oily mamas because they do essential oils, and they're making, you know, their homes, you know, chemically free, and they're using all natural products. But I don't know that people think about this baby monitor thing. I have never heard that before. So I mean, that's a big thing. So
what are the first answer is to get a wired one.
Yeah.
Okay. And the second answer is to put an organite underneath the crib or next to the crib. And we've had a number of moms buy these, and their babies started to sleep through the night.
It's fascinating. And if
yes,
anybody's had a baby that doesn't sleep through the night, especially for many nights in a row,
right?
Right? I mean, it takes
exactly.
So I mean, anything that can help. So coming back to this, so the EMFs they're kind of emitted, like you said, by bad wiring.
And they can be. Yep.
All these, I'm going to use the wrong word, but I call them radio frequencies. I don't know if that's the right word or not.
It's similar. EMFs, radio frequencies are part of EMFs.
Okay.
And so they aren't, because the different frequencies affect the human body differently. When we get into like 3G, like a transistor radio isn't going to hurt you like a cell phone will. Okay.
And it's interesting too, because those EMFs, you know, I mean, I think that you hear, you know, there's kind of the buzz, you know, back and forth. And I try to not be political. I know that nothing is really black and white. There's shades of gray everywhere, but it seems like sometimes topics become polarized. I know that EMFs are one of those polarizing topics where, you know, you have people saying they absolutely are safe. There's nothing to worry about at all. And then of course there's other folks saying, but have you looked at the literature? Because it says X, Y, and Z, and we need to be concerned. But even something as simple as, like you said, our cell phones, when you look at which nobody looks at the user manual on your cell phone, nobody looks at this, but it actually says to hold it, you know, what is it, 6 inches from your head?
Exactly. Right? 1 second.
Sure.
I have an EMF meter here, which I'm going to show you. And since you just grabbed your cell phone, I'm going to show you the significance of this.
Sure.
Okay. And that is that now I've used this through for all our tests, and we'll get into that a little bit later.
Sure.
So you can see my meter now. It's pretty hot, and that's because I'm right next to my computer, my laptop. I have a wired printer next to me, and here's my cell phone. Now you see it's kind of sleeping. Now watch when I turn it on, it goes all the way up into the red. See how see how it just jumps? Okay.
Yeah.
Now, if your cell phone is on, it's always getting pinged. And so you're always getting hit by EMFs. Now, the significance of 5G versus 3G and 4G is that 3G and 4G are not as fast, and so you don't get hit as many times.
Okay.
5G, the concept between 5G is that it pings your phone 1,000 times a second. And so if you're sitting in a restaurant and everybody's not 5G enabled yet, okay? So, but let's say there's 40 of us in a restaurant and we all have 5G enabled cell phones and they're all on. doesn't, they're muted, whatever. If they're on,
Right.
each one of us are going to get hit with 40,000 EMFs a second. Now, in a couple minutes, I'm going to show you what that does to your blood.
That's just amazing. I mean,
because since you're a blood guy, you're going to like this.
I'm excited. I read a little bit in your bio about dark microscopy and some other things,
exactly.
And I'm just fascinated by this stuff. This isn't the stuff they teach in school, right? This is, I call it the eclectic healing. And I think that, you know, again, what's taught black and white in any medical program, it doesn't matter which one that you're in, whether it's you know, general medicine, osteopathy, chiropractic, naturopathy, you know, even acupuncture. I mean, there's these black and white that this is the way it's done, this is what it means, et cetera. But then you get into these eclectic sciences that the longer I'm in practice, I've been in practice for 21 years. The longer I'm in practice, the more I think that the real answers and solutions that we're looking for are found around that black and white medical training that people come with, you know. And I think it just takes someone to kind of jump out of the box. So I'm so glad that you and your wife, and it sounds like your daughter and Alex and everybody have really kind of jumped outside of the training box and more into what do we need to do to help people like your wife, you know. And I think that that's again the important outcome. So kind of coming back to this too, it sounds like to me that we all need to be concerned about all of this electromagnetic field, these frequencies that are around us. I mean, I am a high tech guy, right? I mean, I've got my watch that's probably being pinged as well. I've got my brand new, you know, iPhone and my laptop, and I don't know if you can see behind me, but I've got a whole. Let me see if I can show this to our viewers. But I have a whole setup here with just about everything that you could imagine.
You're getting zapped pretty strong.
Oh yeah, I am. I'm sure, and I stand here all day long. You know, not to mention that I've got, you know, lights. I've got infrared. I've got a lot going on right now.
Yeah. The worst thing that you have on you is your watch.
Yeah, interesting.
Going right into your bloodstream.
Wow.
The EMFs are going right into your bloodstream.
I'm going to have to rethink my technology after
You may have to do that, yes.
I'm
just an observation.
Yeah, so let's, you know, we had some canned questions, and that you and I kind of talked about, but I want to just keep going down this path if you're okay with it.
Sure.
You dangled a carrot that I want to take a bite of. You said, I'm going to show you in just a minute what it does to your blood. I want to know, like I want to know. And I think that our listeners want to see that or hear about that. So I'm going to turn it right back over to you on that. What is it doing to my blood? What is this, you know, this Apple Watch doing to my blood?
What we did is we found a chiropractor in Plover, Wisconsin. His name is Dr. Mark Ensweiler, and he's not only a chiropractor, he does dark field microscopy, and he also does acupuncture.
Great.
So dark field microscopy is the ability to put your blood underneath a microscope, and it comes up and we watch it on, and you're going to see the still pictures that I took of the video. This is all videoed, still pictures or videos of your blood on a 35-inch flat screen TV. And of all the cool things that you're ever going to see, this is going to be one of the coolest, because you can't imagine. And I'm showing you my blood, the ones that I'm showing you.
I'm super excited. And, you know, having done some histology classes, of course, you know, which, by the way, I just want to put this out there. For the way medicine is generally practiced, I'm not sure that's a useful class for most doctors. I'm going to put that out there. But I think if you're using something that's practical, I mean, understanding that histology and those changes are very important. So, and the other thing I wanted to point out, that when you're doing histology in the lab, you know, when you're learning it, you're really, you know, looking in a microscope, and it's like a little picture. I think what's interesting too is that you guys are blowing it up, you know, this big, and you're able to really look in detail with some of that. So I'm going to, again, I've never seen this before, so I'm super.
So now I'm going to show these on this screen. They're also on my website. It's Organized by Steve, and I have these slides in a couple blogs. So if you want to see it better,
And that was organized. And we'll guys, just for our listeners, on Facebook, because it's streaming on Facebook Live, we'll be sure to post that in the comments section. And then if you're on our YouTube channel, it'll be in the description too. So organizedbysteve.com, is that right?
Yep, correct. Yep.
Perfect. And we haven't gotten to Organite yet. So
no,
that's our next
We'll
piece.
get to that.
Yeah.
You aren't going to get away from me without getting to that. But so what we did is we set up, I have a friend who's a chiropractor in Washington State, and he was in a documentary called Take Back Your Power. His name is Frank Sprigob. And what he did is he did 30 test subjects of with no EMFs and then put them next to a smart meter for 2 minutes and then
Right.
took their blood, took before and after. So I thought, I wonder what would happen if I did that, but threw an extra step in the middle with organites in there. Okay. Now this is a little scary because what if it doesn't work, right? I mean,
Right.
I'm looking pretty bad.
Right.
Well, worked out just fine. So the first, and I have my meter. So in his parking lot, there's literally no EMFs. I mean, the meter is almost at completely zero. So we literally walk right into his office and take blood. And then this would be, and I'm going to stick this in front of my face,
Sure.
but you can see that all the red blood cells are extremely round and just very, very well formed.
Mm-hmm.
And the little white blobs there, those are white blood cells.
Mm-hmm.
And you can see those, right?
Yep. No, they're coming across very crystal clear. Yep.
Okay, excellent. So in this video, now realize this is off of a video. In this video, the white blood cells are extremely active and they're cleaning the blood. And this is what's so cool because this is all moving and they stay alive on the slide for about an hour. Okay. So then what we did is we walked outside into his waiting room and we opened up a laptop, which is active. We opened up a cell phone with a hotspot active. And also he had a substantial router in his waiting room. We sat out there for 20 minutes and we had a pyramid like this. Actually, it was this one right here,
right,
along with 2 roses. Okay, so we had a control every test we did. And we did this with 10 people. This isn't just me. We have 10 of them. And my wife, by the way, is going to publish a paper in January, February that'll be on this. Okay, peer reviewed. So then we went 20 minutes, we go back in. Now, if you look at this, you can see that most of the red blood cells are still round. Okay. And you can see, and can't see the video, but the video shows that the white blood cells are still active.
Sure.
So that means that with 20 minutes of exposure with organites in that high EMF experience, our blood is still in pretty good shape. Okay. Then we went back out into the waiting room for 20 minutes and took the organites out. And so
just 20 minutes.
Yeah, just 20 minutes. Okay. Now, here it is. Now, if you look at this, and again, this is subjective.
Hold up just a little bit. There we go.
That's it. Okay. This is subjective. Okay. But the bottom line is that probably 70% of the red blood cells are degraded. And realize they're not perfectly round anymore.
Right.
Remember the first one? They were perfectly round. They're not. But the biggest thing about the third test, and this was almost across the board, and I'm going to, while I'm saying this, I'm going to put this up because this shows all 3. Am I hitting the screen?
Yep. Go to your left, I think a little. Yep. Perfect. That's great.
Okay. So what happened is that in the third sample, the white blood cells were either not working at all or were working very slowly. Now, you understand what happens when your white blood cells stop working.
Well, yeah, exactly. I mean,
your immune system's compromised, right? Now, just think about somebody going to work and sitting next to a router at their foot, or you right next behind you, and your immune system is compromised the whole time. Now, don't misunderstand me. The bottom line is that your body fixes itself when you walk away from that source. Okay. But for 8 hours or 10 hours, your body is completely open to any kind of attack. Okay. Now that can be cancer, that can be a cold, that can be a virus. Speaking of viruses, and we'll touch on that. I'll touch on it right now. How's that?
Yeah, that's
COVID-19 is a virus.
There we go. And I was just going to say, it's so topical because we have COVID-19, and then we also have, of course, the vaccine that's been coming out, right? And, that was some of the questions that we had this morning,
right?
Especially for the folks that are super concerned about this 5G and the EMFs, and So I'm gonna, great, thank you. So
let's go back to the start of this whole deal, COVID, back in supposedly in March, February, whenever it started.
Right.
You look at the first 3-4 hotspots, and I'm pretty well versed on this. Is that Wuhan, New York City, that cruise ship, Italy and Spain literally rolled out 5G in November and December of 2019. Now, I'm not telling you that EMFs caused COVID.
Oh.
Okay, I am not saying that. What I am telling you is that your immune system is compromised. So if whatever the virus is, has a better chance of making you sick.
Here's what's interesting, and just to kind of let you know, I'm on the I'm working very tangentially with the Medical Intelligence Learning Lab COVID-19 task force, right? All
Really?
that
Okay.
means is I've been asked to weigh in and give my opinion, and what that weighs down to is I read other people's research,
Yep.
you know, and I just sponge it up, and I wish I had more to contribute, but I'm just kind of sponging right now.
Yep.
And here's what's interesting: some papers were published that are very readily available. I don't have the journal right up top of my head, but I know that in Italy they found COVID-19 in sputum samples back in September of 2019.
Right.
And I think that this is an important date for us because there was no, I'm going to use my words carefully here,
Yes.
although I always mess them up. There was
I
no
understand.
there was no mass hysteria about
No.
it, right?
Right.
Then, because this is what got me thinking, there had to be another contributing factor, right? Because if we
Yep.
saw that in September and it's as wickedly virulent as it is, and you know, as deadly as it is, why did it take until February, you know, January, February, March
Right.
before the concern? And I think you just filled in one of the missing pieces, right?
Yep.
Rolling out 5G is what I just heard in
Yep.
November. That's
Yep.
super interesting. And I have not, now I have something to ask in the task force. I can say,
Yes.
what does anybody know about this?
Right.
This is, yeah, thank you for that. That's
I want
very-
to touch on your sponging comment.
Yeah.
I sponge as well. Okay.
Yeah.
We have to sponge. And so two of my biggest guy probably is a gentleman named Nick Pinot. And he wrote a book in 2018 called The Non-Tinfoil Guide to EMFs. And he knows, he's got it. He's got this. And there's another gentleman, and I have his packages. I get all his information.
Great.
Another guy is a doctor out of Washington State called Dr. Martin Pal. And these links are on my website. And
Sure.
you can go and Martin Pal wrote a paper, 90 pages, telling you how bad EMFs are for you.
What's
and
that
everybody
website? What's that website again?
It's on my website, but you can go to Martin Pal, PhD, Dr. Martin Pal, PALL, and it's free.
Is it, but your website, remind me again, I didn't write
Organites by Steve.
.com. Okay, good. I thought that's what it was. I was going to say that. Yeah. So guys, everything that we're talking about today, Steve has referenced on his website, organizedbysteve.com.
Yep.
And again, we're going to drop that link in the comments or have it on the YouTube channel. So just look in the comments.
So in that same breath, a year and a half ago, the head of the FCC got in a news conference and I watched it, and he said 5G is safe. Done. Period. No
Right.
studies, nothing. We're telling you 5G is safe. And so take that for what it's worth.
Hey,
So-
you know, we were told that DDT is safe. We were told that cigarettes are safe. We were told that sugar is safe.
Cigarettes, yeah.
You know,
That's always a good one, isn't it?
I mean, it's great. I mean, asbestos. I mean, you know, how lead. I mean, we could go on and on back at mercury. I mean, we could.
Sure.
I mean, I like this quote, and I think that it makes sense here. The history of science, when it comes down to it, the history of science is most people being wrong about most things most of the time. And
Yep.
that's just the reality of the situation, right? And I
Yep.
think that when we start saying that I'm going to use bad language here, but the science is settled. When we start to say the science is settled,
We're done.
It's no longer science. It's
No.
dogma at that point.
Right.
You know? And you know, draconian dogmatic theory, I don't even know if it's theory, you know, statements have really hurt humankind
Absolutely.
for centuries.
Yep.
And again, I always tell my followers, my listeners, my clients to be really careful about anyone that's, you know, saying we don't need to discuss this anymore. The science is settled. It's fluid. That's why it's science.
Yeah, it's never settled, right?
It's a fluid.
So
yeah.
I want to get back to my chiropractor friend because because when I first went to him, he took my $100 and thought I was a quack.
Right.
I'll give him that. I'm okay. When we got done with the first 3 blood tests, he looked at me and he said, "You have something here." He said, "But this is still subjective because everybody's going to look at your blood a little different."
Sure.
So because he's a chiropractor, he said, I have something here that's an objective test. It's called an accugraph. It's an industry standard test in acupuncture. And so what we did then is I redid mine, and then all 10 people, we did accugraphs. And I'm going to show these to you really quickly,
Sure, yeah,
because this is quite a big deal. So what they do is they test 5 points on each hand and five points on each foot. Okay, now that's my first one. This is with no EMFs, because we did this the same time that we did the blood. Okay.
Sure.
And then this is the second one with EMFs
and
organites. Okay, now drum roll. This is just EMFs.
oh wow.
Now I'm just going to show you just the first and second one. I think I can get them on the screen there.
Yeah.
Look at the difference.
Yeah.
Okay. This is what it's doing to your health and your energy levels.
Yeah, and I was going to say, that measurement, just to put it into left brain science, geeky terms, it's a lot more than this. But really, it's measuring your vital frequencies of your body.
Correct.
I mean, I think that's a good way to say it. We are ourselves are. I always say we're electrical beings. I mean,
yes.
our brain and our nerves. I mean, we're conducting electricity inside our bodies all the time, right?
Yep.
So really, what that's measuring is that current, or that currency, if you will.
Yes.
And the current was clearly diminished from that first,
absolutely,
with the non-exposure, and even comparing it to the exposure with the organite, then comparing it to the exposure with no organite. I mean, there's no doubt about that. And that I'm there with you. I like that he did that, because it brought it into a quantifiable, measurable, reproducible, and publishable piece of work.
When he did mine, when he did the third one of mine, he literally looked at me and his jaw dropped, and he said, wow, I can't believe it had that much effect.
So cutting to the chase here, I mean, this is what I'm seeing, or what I'm hearing. We need to be concerned. There's things that we can do. As an example, use a wired baby monitor over wireless technology, so just kind of throwing those things out. Would you say, just while we're on that note, from the modems that are coming in, rather than having a router, would it make more sense to have a wired Ethernet cable?
Absolutely. If you can do it.
If you can do it. Right.
Yeah.
Right.
I don't. I have so much organite in my house that I've had one or two times when I was talking with my daughter, when I had 100 or 150 pyramids, I couldn't talk to her. I had to walk outside. Now that obviously doesn't happen with one person.
Which brings us to this. I mean, we have just about enough time, I think, to cover this. What's organite? I have never heard of it ever until I met you. And then I was like, what? And I really tried to I wanted to dig into it and research it a lot and be the expert on it. When you came on, I wanted to hear, I wanted to go into this not knowing as little as possible. So what the heck is organite?
The history comes back to the late 1950s. A gentleman named Wilhelm Reich found this accidentally when he was messing around in a laboratory. And what ultimately organite has come down today is a combination of resin and metals and crystal. Mm-hmm. And this is a big one. This one has never left my house. When my wife saw it, she said it's not leaving. Okay, this has a field of 30 feet, 30 plus feet. Okay, so anybody that stands in there, and what we do, we don't block and we don't shield, we harmonize.
Okay.
We harmonize the negative EMFs. So we figure we're about 70 to 80% effective. And that's why you saw in that second blood test, there's still a little bit of degradation. Okay. So, and you were talking about energy. This is how Alex tests us. She tests our energy through muscle testing.
Sure.
Okay. And a lot of these people are empaths. Okay. So I'm not good at this. I can sway test like this, and I don't know if you're familiar with that. There's different ways of testing. So anyway, we have all different sizes of organite. So I make these upside down, okay, just like this. You can see there's multiple layers. The bigger the piece, the bigger the field. So we make pieces for big rooms, little rooms. I carry 2 of these in my pocket next to my cell phone.
Interesting.
I have one on a chain here on my chest. Okay. These have a field of 2 to 4 feet. They're personal pieces. Okay. And 90% of the people that have bought my pyramids, if they put them next to their bed at night, they have said they slept better. And why is that? The EMFs aren't messing with their brains.
Well, and I'm just thinking about my bed space. I mean, I literally have my cell phone, my watch, I think that's pretty much what I have there. Although that's not too, I have, well, it doesn't matter what I have next to my bed, but I
could probably do an intervention for you.
Yeah, I think I need
How's that?
here's what's super interesting too. And I want to go back to the Organite here, but even so I was just talking to my mom, who I have the blessings of having her staying with us here for just a little bit, which is great.
Sure.
Because we've never done that before. It's pretty cool. She's about 88 years old, and
Okay.
she knew about EMFs, and she knew that they can be harmful, and she was really interested in what Organite is. So
Sure.
again, I want to just understand this. So I don't have Organite, but I'm going to use I have a little fidget
Yep.
box here, right? So this is Organite, and I have it, in my hand. It's going to have a field.
Yep.
This is what I know this isn't the way it is, but I keep coming back to the word sponge. And I know that's not what it is. I get it. It's harmonizing.
Right.
But I get this idea that there's
Yeah.
field
It's just
around,
like gravity, just like oxygen. You can't see it.
yeah, there's this field around the Organite
Yep.
that when the EMF enters that field, it's just harmonized.
Yep. It goes from this to this.
Yeah.
Negative to positive.
Kind of like my I make a joke. My mood sometimes is like this,
Okay.
but my wife's mood is like this,
Right.
So she's my
one
Organite.
one of the things about why does this why is the field created? Is because when the resin cools, it contracts and
Okay,
it puts pressure on the crystals in the metal, and that creates something called piezoelectricity.
cool. Oh yeah,
Okay, and that's what creates the field. Now, a lot of people still remember that in old TVs, old radios, there were crystals in there.
Yeah.
They conduct electricity. Okay. If you hit a crystal with a hammer, it creates electricity.
sure does.
And so what we're doing is we're creating a field. We don't block it. If we blocked it, you
Right.
couldn't use your cell phone. Okay. But we harmonize it, and we've shown it through, and as far as I know, I'm the only person that has done something like this.
It's fascinating, Steve. So people can order those Organites, right?
Yes.
Directly from the website. And again, it's organitesbysteve.com.
Yep.
I got it right this time.
And there's more. Just for you, we're going to run a 7-day special. If they use the promo code Jason,
Nice.
they get a 20% discount.
Awesome. So I'll put that on there. So promo code Jason. I love
Jason,
that.
and they get a 20% discount.
20%.
And if they're interested, there's a large variety of products for any size. The biggest challenge, my last little spiel is our biggest challenge is that we have to protect ourselves when we leave our houses.
Right.
Okay. I can have all the pyramids in the world here, but I'm not here all the time. I have to leave. And so I have to be protected, because when I'm in that restaurant with 40 other people getting blasted by everybody's cell phone, I have to protect myself. We're all responsible for our own health. You know that. I bet you've said that to someone.
Absolutely. I get in trouble for saying that sometimes when I say those things,
Yes.
it's a hard truth that we all need.
Yes.
I keep saying it's a jagged little pill that we all need to swallow.
Mhm.
We are the masters of our destiny. We are the masters of our own health. There is no investment like yourself. I could go on and on and on.
Correct.
I have a practical question for you, sir. And I can understand, like you said, getting the pendant that you would wear, getting the tiny ones for the pockets to protect yourself, because I carry my phone in my pockets.
Sure.
And you're surrounded by this. I get those pieces. I don't know how big a house is, but let's just say someone has a 2,500 square foot house. I mean, I don't know if that's the right number or not, but let's just say that. I would tell my clients absolutely little things like this. You need an air purifier. I say these things. You need an air purifier for every bedroom. It doesn't matter if it says it's 1,200 square feet, I don't care. You don't need 2 for your house. You need an air purifier in every bedroom.
Yeah.
You need an air purifier in your common living space, and between all that, you have enough to purify the air with all the,
Sure.
HEPA filters and all this. It sounds to me like people need to have some Organite around, like you said, in your main living environments. What would you say for how would you come back to like an average,
It comes down to finances. Okay. And so what I would say, first thing is, if you can just afford one, get one for your bedroom, and then carry it into your kitchen. And then, and then even if you go to work, carry it with you to work. Now the pyramids are a little dangerous because they're sharp.
Okay.
Okay, I'm just being honest. So you don't want to carry it around a lot. You know,
Are they
we
heavy?
make
That big one? How heavy is that big one?
that's probably about 12 pounds.
Oh, wow.
So
That's
like
crazy.
these, we carry, you can put these in a purse. You can put it, we have these in our car doors for when our grandchildren are playing on video games or on the
Sure.
phone or whatever. Okay, these have a 4 to 6 foot field. So the key is if you have a king size bed, you got to, if you want to protect the person that's in bed with you, you got to have something that's at least 10 feet, and that would be a regular size. But, you know, and the field sizes are all on the website.
That's
But,
awesome.
you know, you have to carry it around. You know, I've had people buy one for almost every room, but it's where you are all the time. And sleeping is crucial because, as you know, if you sleep well, that's one of the biggest steps to your good health, right?
Absolutely. In fact, in the Epic 5, we have hydration, diet, movement, stress management, and sleep, right?
Yep.
So, I mean,
Right.
if you don't have those core 5 foundational principles covered, I mean, your health is going to be in trouble. Forget about,
Right.
people always want to supplement their way through things or medicate their way through things. And I'm like,
Right.
what if you start with those 5 things? They don't cost you anything. You know,
Nope.
you have to drink water, you have to eat, you can move. It doesn't cost, you don't have to join a gym. You can just move. In fact, I did some I did some jumping jacks to get some exercise in before you and I got together. Steve, we are out of time, but I wanted to give you final word. Did I miss anything? Is there anything that you desperately want to share with the listeners
No,
today?
we hit it all. You did a great job. I really appreciate getting this message out to the world. More people need to know about this. There's a lot of information on my website, and I think we'll probably chat again.
I think we will, and I'd love to have you back on. And thank you so much for your time today, guys. Steve Frazier, organizedbysteve.com. Use the promo code Jason, JASON, to get 20% off, which is awesome. Thank you so much, sir. And
My pleasure.
I look forward to connecting again very soon. We'll say bye.
Thanks.